You know, the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the ape, the young man who has become a legend of his own time. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, that's going around right now, where nobody can handle the truth anymore. What's up, everybody? It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on blogtalkradio.com. I should have did this before I got started. It's the RonKellyShow.com. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Thursday. It's May 7th, 2026. And boy, it's locally here in the gritty New York, New Jersey area. It's time to vote, and man, it's getting hot and heavy. And I'm going to talk about the voting, just the whole aspect of voting, because the Supreme Court behind the scenes, like we talked about the 2025. Nobody's talking about that anymore. Project 2025. Nobody's talking about that anymore. Everybody's worried about how much dirt is on the ground, and just stuff that it's not saying it's not important, but there's bigger fish to fry than how much dirt is on the sidewalk. There's bigger fish to fry than that, because right now, the Supreme Court ruled. I'll get into that in just a few minutes, everybody, but. And I'm going to tell you what's going on behind the scenes. But what's happening in the states, where the states are changing the voting laws, and it's going to unfairly impact black votes. So, I get it that there's garbage on the ground and all of this stuff, but, we got to get busy. Because there's a lot of other stuff that's going on that Trump is trying to do. See, because Trump doesn't plan on staying the president. There was talk about that where he talked about that he wasn't going to be the president. He was going to stay president. Hillary Clinton, when she was running against him, was saying that he wasn't going to leave. And no, Trump's going to leave. That's a dead issue now. Trump is going to leave. But he's setting it up so he'll still have power once he leaves. That's what he's doing. He's setting the government up so he still have power before he leaves, or that things will still go on the way they've been going on. This is the whole idea behind Trump and what he's doing right now. And a lot of us are paying attention to. It's what's happening with the 2025. Nobody's paying attention. Black folks in particular, Democrats especially, are just not paying attention to what's going on. Hakeem Jeffries and some of the other ones, Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, who is the Democratic House Speaker. Charles Schumer is the Senate Speaker. And nobody's paying attention to what's going on. Like behind the scenes, the Voting Rights Act is being picked apart. And a lot of us don't pay attention, especially black folks, as we think like we're indoctrinated, like nothing's going to happen to us. Oh, no, that's not true. Stuff is going to happen to us. Who do you think they're trying to stop? They're not worried about the Hispanic vote. They're worried about the black vote. And all of these things that they're doing against the Voting Rights Act is redrawing districts, like Louisiana today, for example, redrew a majority black district to break it up so they can steal that seat. And this is what's going on all across the country. It's not just in Louisiana, it's everywhere. Everywhere where the Republicans run the Senate, the state Senate, and the state House of Representatives, or the state assembly people. Because in the states, you have the Assembly and you have the Senate. And all over the United States of America right now, today, as I speak, the voting districts are being redrawn so that black folks will have less power the majority black districts are being X'd out, or they're being carved up, so there's a majority of white folks maybe from a neighboring district, like for example, Essex County and Bergen County. So the Essex County area is being gutted. It's giving the Bergen County area another opportunity. So this stuff is going on. All right, don't pay attention. Don't pay attention. Because it's not really about, but the Republicans know that there's not a whole lot they can do as far as how you vote. There's not a whole lot they can do about that. You can vote the way you want to vote. I mean, as far as like requiring more identification and stuff like that, that's only going to affect the Hispanic vote. And they really don't care about the Hispanic vote. The Hispanic vote is way down the list of important things that the Republicans are doing. They're trying to stop black folks. And you see, if you look it up, the Supreme Court just the other day, Supreme Court on Monday, actually, on the 4th, just a couple of days ago, allowed a ruling that gutted a key part of the Voting Rights Act to take effect ahead of schedule, meaning that this act was supposed to take place, it was supposed to kick in November, but the Supreme Court allowed it to take place before November, because this ruling that gutted a key part of the Voting Rights Act was supposed to take place in November after the midterms, but the Supreme Court allowed it to take place before the mid. You see, they're holding because the fix is in. You know what I'm saying? The fix is in. The fix is in. And our people are not paying attention. Our people is not paying attention. The fix is in. These things are taking place, and we're worried about how much garbage is on the street. And but there's a lot of other stuff going on. And Trump is setting the table, so when he leaves, he'll have J.D. Vance may wind up being the president if we can't find a viable candidate to step up to the plate. Kamala Harris talked about running again. I don't necessarily agree with that because she had $3.5 billion and she lost. And I don't think that America's mindset about a woman president is going to change that much in the last couple years. So it's going to be the same thing. So this thing is like, this is we should be sounding the alarm because they're setting it up. There's a that this ID thing is only going to affect Hispanic people. Because black folks have driver's licenses for the most part. The black folks who actually vote have the proper ID. There's some black folks who don't vote, don't go anywhere near the voting booth. But there are black folks who have the proper ID who will be allowed to vote. And the Republicans know that. So instead of trying to stop black people from voting, they're carving up the districts. They're carving up the majority black districts. So black Congress people, black Democratic Congress people are going to lose because they're carving up their districts to include more white people. This is what's going on. See, all right, don't listen to me, But behind the scenes, while we heading out to house music festivals and all the stuff that we do, and not saying there's anything wrong with that, but we got to pay attention to what's going on in this country, because the whole idea behind the 2025 is to take power away from black folks, and the Jasmine Crockett's in your face, and Representative Al Green from Texas in your face. We gotta that stuff is not affecting anybody. Getting up in front of the, everybody and going in on certain people, that stuff is not working. And this is alarming. I mean, to somebody like me who pays attention to this stuff, this is alarming that they are carving up black congressional districts to put the fix in so that those black candidates will lose. Because if you take a majority black district, cut it in half, and put more white people from a neighboring district into that district, what do you think is going to happen? Because, you know, you can only vote in the district in which you live. And see, this is what brought the Project 2025. Because the Democrats are I don't even, you know what? I'm just not in tune with the Democrats these days. I'm not. Because the Democrats are not doing nothing. The Democrats are not doing anything to stem the tide of what's going on with the Republicans. They're not doing nothing. Schumer is old and crotchety. You know, Hakeem Jeffries, I don't know what he's thinking about. You know, Congressional Black Caucus, whatever. You know, they're not doing anything. And somebody needs, you know, something needs to happen. So this Project 2025-ish has got to stop. It's 11 minutes past the hour. It's got to stop, because it's getting, you know, nobody's doing nothing. Schumer's not doing nothing. Hakeem Jeffries is not doing nothing. You know, Senator, what's his name from Newark, not doing anything. You know, I mean, it's just getting ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Nobody's doing anything. And the country's being hijacked right from under us, and nobody's doing nothing about it. You know, so I'm like sounding the alarm here. Sound the alarm, because this is serious stuff. Because they're not going to take away your right to vote. They'll take away your right to vote for who you want to vote for. They dilute your power by carving up a black district and making it a white district. Because, you know, black folks and white folks don't live in the same areas unless they're poor white folks. We don't live around them. They don't live around us. You know, and you can take a neighboring district who may have a bunch of white people, and you can carve off half of that district, which is majority African American, and push it together with another district that's mostly white. So guess what? You dilute the black vote by putting more white people in. Because we know white people and black people vote for different things. We have different agendas as far as who we vote for. So this is what the problem is. You know, this is going on. You know, people got to pay attention. This is what's going on. You know? So don't wait until after it happens and then start, you know, crying about it. You know, oh, they cut up, because it's going on. And thankfully, the Democratic states won't have this problem. Because in a way, because to combat this, the Democratic states, some of them are trying to fight back and doing the same thing. So the voting system in America is being compromised because the Democrats are trying to do it too. They're not doing it as much as the Republicans are, but they're doing it. So you got the Republicans carving up African American districts, and then you have the Democrats carving up white districts. So each one, because they fight, because Trump knows that the Republicans are probably going to lose unless they do something drastic like what they're doing now by this redistricting thing. And then you got the Supreme Court, because the redistricting wasn't supposed to take place until November, but the Supreme Court allowed it to take place. It was supposed to take place after November, but the Supreme Court allowed it to go on before November, just in time for the midterms that are coming up pretty soon. So, you know, this is a crisis. and black folks are going to need to come out, and vote. Shout out to my people at the American Portable Transportation, a proud partner with me, of course, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Shout out to my people at WBOK 1230 AM in New Orleans, in Nolens, I think they call it Nolens, and Charla, I hope everything is good with you. My handler down there at WBOK 1230 AM. And folks all across the United States of America who listen to the Ron Kelly Show. I even watched it, because they do the geographical thing on Facebook, and there's people like in different countries who listen to the program, and not a whole bunch, but it's cool that people from England and people from Africa and Albania and some of the places, Russia, some places I would never think that anybody would want to listen to me, but they do. So I mean, it's not a whole bunch of them, like I said, it's not an avalanche bunch of people, but I appreciate like every listener that I can get. Okay, everybody, it's just about 16 minutes past the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. I might have a late guest, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Shout out to Alex Mendez, who is running for mayor of City of Pastor. That's going to be very interesting. Who's going to win? It's probably going to be Andre Sayegh. I mean, he's got the big bucks backing the governor and everybody else. The governor was here, and most of the council at large are, so it's not going to be Mike Jackson. I'll tell you that. It's not going to be Mike Jackson. The best choice would be the person who would have the best chance to unseat Andre Sayegh would be probably Mendez. But it's like more than likely it's going to be Andre Sayegh who's going to take this thing. All right, everybody, it's about 20 minutes past the hour. We'll take a break and we'll come back with more of the program. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and when we come back, we're going to talk about so hold on to your hats. We're going to talk about the retailers that are bailing from the inner city and why. We're going to talk about that when we come back in just a couple more minutes. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program on Facebook Live, too, by the way, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. And it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and WBOK 1230 AM in New Orleans, everybody, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio show. So, I don't know why, every time I go live, it says, thank you, everyone, for the birthday wishes. I don't know if that's stuck to my phone or what. I have to figure that out. But anyway, the Ron Kelly Show on Facebook Live right now, in addition to StreamYard, where we have to have a streaming platform in order for the show to go out to different areas. Otherwise, I will probably just do the show from Facebook Live. But anyway, welcome back, everybody. Shout out to my people at American and Porterfield Transportation for 46 years. Since 1980, just before I was born, 46 years, 1980, American Porterfield Transportation has been providing safe, reliable transportation to and from your destination. School trips, school districts, private school transportation, casino trips, senior trips, you name it, after school activities. You name it, American and Porterfield can handle it. Just give them a call, 908-753-6423, 908-753-6423, 908-753-6423. American and Porterfield Transportation is your source for safe and reliable transportation to and from your destination. Okay, what's going on in Chicago? Chicago. See, I'm about to get on everybody's nerves in a minute. The people in Chicago. See, there's two different kinds of black folks. Facebook is probably going to shut me off. But there's two different kinds of black folks. There's regular black folks like you and I, who handle their business, do what they got to do, function within the law. And then there's niggers, as they're called. And, okay, connection is slow. And, there's good black folks and then there's bad black folks. And unfortunately, there's more bad, ignorant Negroes than there are the good black folks. Those of us who go to work every day, pay the bills as best we can, act within the law. When we get pulled over, we pull out our driver's license, say, here you go, officer. And we handle our business. Then these ignorant black folks, the ones who don't want to get out the police car. Don't want to get out the car when the police tell you to. Don't want to show your ID when the police tell you to. These are the ignorant Negroes that you have out there. So in Chicago, for example, and these are the ignorant Negroes, I think, in my humble opinion. In Chicago, for example, everybody's rallying around this, people are protesting that a CVS, I believe it's a CVS or Rite Aid, one of those two, are leaving this area. This is going on in Chicago right now. Folks are protesting, politicians, the politicians are out there, blaming the store for what's going on. Blaming the store. It's the store's fault. They're bailing. They're leaving us. The stores are leaving us. What are we gonna do now? What are the old people are gonna do now? Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, what are we gonna do now? It's corporate. It's corporate. Corporate. It's a corporate crime for these businesses to leave the Chicago area. So the protest is going on yesterday. I believe it's going on today, and the people and the black folks on the south side of Chicago are protesting about the big box, the major retailers like CVS and some of these other places leaving the area. And I'm like, I just laughed. I just laughed. Because what do you expect him to do? What do you expect him to do? You know, because you got Negroes walking up in there, ignorant niggas walking up in there, you know, walking up in the place and stealing. A lot of them don't even try to hide it. They just walk in, grab what they want, and leave. A lot of them don't even try to hide it. Don't even try. Don't even try to hide it. So you got the people. You got the people in Chicago who are protesting because the business is leaving. Because the business is leaving. You know, I mean, you can't blame these people for leaving. You can't blame them. You know, you can't blame these businesses for leaving. You got niggas walking in, taking what they want, walk back out. You know, people arguing unnecessarily about stupid shit. You know, the customers, the legitimate customers are not safe. The employees are not safe. You know, and there's stuff going on every day. So you can't blame them for closing their stores. And so you got the people in Chicago who are complaining about. You got the people in Chicago who are complaining about these stores leaving their area. You got the people in Chicago who are protesting. You know, so how can you can't really complain because you can't blame these people for leaving. Because of all the crap that they have to go through because they're in the black area. And let me tell you, I love my people. I'm a proud black man. Don't get it twisted. I love being a black person, black man. You know, and I love my people. But you can't blame these companies for leaving. You know, you can't blame them. Because because the business, the whole point of business is to make money. The whole purpose of the business is making money. And now you have the people in Chicago right now, a Walgreens, as a matter of fact, Walgreens, on the corner of 86th Street and Cottage Grove. Now, the people, the Chicago residents, now they're accusing the leaders they're accusing the Chicago residents and community leaders are protesting the closure of a Walgreens in this neighborhood, accusing the company of corporate abandonment and jeopardizing senior care. The Walgreens didn't, it's not abandoned. They doing what they have to do. Because they got niggas walking up in there, taking stuff. All kinds of drama. The employees are not safe. The business people is rampant. The people are stealing, walking in, taking stuff, and I've seen it because I do have a armed security officer's license. Okay, and I've done security at some of these places, AutoZone and Walgreens and CVS. I've done security at some of these places, and the crap that I had to go through from the black people was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And I worked at the AutoZone in Irvington, for example, Springfield Avenue, one of like the worst areas in New Jersey. And it's funny, I always wound up with the worst areas. But the crap that I had to go through with the black folks that used to come in there was unbelievable. And see, this is a black area. So it wasn't no white people coming in there. Because white people don't shop in areas where there's a lot of black people, for the most part. They don't shop with us, a lot of black people. So, people are complaining corporate abandonment. There ain't no damn corporate abandonment. They leaving because they can't make no money. They can't conduct business because Negroes are walking in there stealing. That's why you got to lock up the deodorant and, I mean, lock up the deodorant? I mean, really? So you go to the Walgreens now and you see everything all locked up. You got to press the button for customer service for somebody to come and unlock the stuff. Now, granted, I live in Bloomfield, New Jersey, which is a majority white town, and they have it here too. But they ain't moving. They're not moving. And most of the black folks, most of the people who come to Bloomfield from Newark, Newark, Irvington, East Orange, not to, kick their back end completely, but a lot of people are coming from other areas to steal. When you want to steal a Mercedes or a Maserati, you're not going to go to the hood to steal it. You're going to go where the Maseratis are. You're going to go to where the Mercedes-Benzes are, the G-Wagons and all this type of stuff. So you can't blame, I'm totally against this protest talking and blaming the business for leaving. See, that's what black folks do. Most black folks. That's what we do. We blame everybody else for the problems that we have. Oh, it was slavery. Oh, it's redlining. Oh, and we blame other people for this ish that we're involved in. Blame others. That's the easy way out. Just blame somebody else. Corporate abandonment. What the hell is that? Walgreens is not jeopardizing senior care. The Negroes that be walking up in there and stealing, they're the ones who are jeopardizing the care of seniors. Protesters argue the closure creates a medicine drought for seniors, calling it a corporate crime. So they're saying, so never mind the hundreds of people that walked in there and walked out with stuff, never mind that the company is losing money because people are stealing, never mind that. Nobody, protests when 25 Negroes ran into one of those jewelry stores, and smashed every case. Nobody protested about that. You didn't hear peep out of anybody. So the company cited higher levels of theft and violent incidents. That's what Walgreens said. And I believe it, because I've done security at some places like this, and I've seen what's going on. I've experienced what goes on in some of those stores, where people walk in there and don't even try to hide their stuff. They don't even try to hide it. They just walk right out the store. And see, that's what I mean. Now, why the hell is you blaming Walgreens for leaving? The whole point of a business is to make money. And if you have a unit somewhere and there's more theft and violence going on, you're going to close it. Now, this particular incident I'm talking about is in Chicago. But it's happening all over the country in urban areas and majority black areas. There's a lot of theft going on. And then we're going to turn around and blame the company. No. He said this is part of a larger nationwide plan by Walgreens to shutter 1,200 stores, with several locations closing in Chicago's South Side neighborhoods in recent years. In 2023, now just a couple of years ago, protesters criticized Walmart for closing 4 stores. Walmart now for closing 4 stores in Chicago. Residents argued for the necessity of these stores. Some city officials have pointed to the impact of rampant theft rampant theft, vandalism, and safety concerns that that people have to take into consideration. I wouldn't want to go work somewhere when I come outside. I don't know whether I'm going to get shot or stabbed or robbed or carjacked. And this is the reality of living in the hood. So, you know, you can't just, you know, you can't just, you know, we like I've said many times, we got to learn how to start taking responsibility for our situation. This is sans the you know, the Project 2025 stuff. But we have to start taking responsibility for the stuff that we do. We have to. We got to start taking responsibility for the stuff that we do. Because if we don't start taking responsibility for the stuff that we do, you know, I mean, just come on. We always have to push it off on somebody else, and when we push stuff on somebody else, we you know, nothing ever gets done. So me personally, and you can love me or hate me or whatever the case may be, but my position is my position. So I don't do radio show to play up to people. I do the radio show to talk about what's right. I'm not trying to win nobody over. I'm not trying to make friends. You know, if you don't like what I say, oh well. You can feel free to challenge me on it any time. Okay, take a break and come back with more of the show. It's the Ron Kelly Show. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
All right, we are back. It's 21 minutes before the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, mostly YouTube. Facebook has been fading on me, so going over to YouTube if you can't get the show. And of course, we are live. We are on, I should say, WBOK 1230 AM in WBOK 1230 AM in New Orleans. And no, it's not my birthday, and I don't know why when I go on Facebook Live it says, thank you everyone for the birthday wishes. My birthday was in February. I don't know why it's still saying it. I have to research that. I got enough things that going on. So, but anyway, everybody, it's about 20 minutes before the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and I was talking about what's going on in Chicago. where the folks who live in Chicago are blaming Walgreens for moving. Oh, now, it's corporate abandonment. It's, it's going to hurt the seniors. You know who hurt the seniors? The people who was going there and stealing stuff. That's who hurt the seniors. The people who went in there fighting. The people who go in there wreaking havoc. The homeless people. The people who walk in there and walk out with stuff. If you want to blame somebody, blame them. You're going to blame somebody, blame them. The whole point of business is to make money. It ain't about putting the store somewhere where, you ain't got time to think about that. You got to be making money. If you're not making money, then you close the store. And this is what happened at this store in Chicago. Now, everybody's coming out. The people are coming out, the politicians and what have you are coming out and say, oh, this corporate abandonment, oh, it's going to hurt the seniors, oh, what are they going to do? You know what? When people was robbing the place, nobody ever said anything. Why wouldn't y'all come out and say, hey, y'all need to stop robbing this place. Hey, y'all need to take care of this place. Y'all need to conduct yourselves, conduct yourselves like human beings, But nobody came and nobody talked about that. And so I don't, I tell you what, it is what it is. And if these businesses leave, they leave. Because it's not that they're, come on now. They would never put the store there in the first place if it was a black thing. Because when they do research, I read something on Walmart, and they do heavy research on an area before they build a store there. Walmart, for example. They do a lot. It takes a year or so for them to check out an area before they put a store there. Because that's what they do. And a lot of these big businesses, CVS, Rite Aid, these businesses, Walmart, used to be Kmart, not anymore. But a lot of these, just like the dollar stores, they know where to put those stores at. You're not going to find no dollar store in Bergen County, for example. You're not going to find, just like laundromats. You're not going to find a bunch of laundromats in a white area because most of the white people have washing machines. So you're not going to find, if you do find a laundromat in the white area, it's going to be a little small, tiny little laundromat for maybe, for the handful of people who don't have a washing machine. So they do research before they put these stores where they put them. They do a lot of research. So, and before they built that store in Chicago, they knew there was a lot of black people around, but they put it there anyway. So all of this nonsense about racism, and knock it off. It's not about racism. It's about y'all stealing from the place. Because like I said, I used to do armed security, and I worked at Walgreens and CVS and AutoZone and some of these other places, and then the stuff I went through was crazy and totally unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Niggas coming in and stealing. They told us to let the people go. That's what the company said. If somebody come in there and steal, I didn't ever see anybody steal. But that's what it melted down to, where the company was telling us, hey, just let the person go. If you see somebody steal something, let them go. What am I doing here for if I don't stop them? But that's the mindset that it's been melted down to. And so, you can't blame Walgreens for moving out of a black neighborhood if they suffering a lot of grief. You can't blame them for that. But you got politicians and council people from Chicago that are coming out that this particular Walgreens is going to be closed. Oh, look, stop people. You know what? Stop going in there and stealing, and maybe they would hang on, because these places lose a lot of money, and I know because I've worked security in some of these places, and they lose a lot of money from theft. That's the number one thing that drawback to retail is theft. Billions of dollars every year are being ripped off by folks. Yeah, and white people steal too. And but that's where we go. Oh, but white people do it. But white people don't get hurt as much for doing their stuff as we do. You know, white people don't get hurt as much as we do for the stuff that we do. They don't get hurt as much as we do. When you look at a white person, do you think about Jeffrey Dahmer or, you know, some of the worst serial killers? I mean, when you look at a white person, do you think about serial killers? No. And the most prolific serial killers, 99% of them was white. But do you think about serial killers when you see a white person? No. No. The worst rapists, the worst, you know, the most heinous crimes ever committed by men were committed by white people. But you don't think about that when you see a white person. But you better believe when a black person looks at one of us, all the labels come in. If it's a black man, oh, he probably got, you know, he ain't taking care of his kids, probably not working, living off some woman, you know, probably got a criminal record. All the labels come in when white people look at us. But when we look at them, we don't think, you know, you don't think, oh, they're a meth addict, because most white people are big on meth. So when you look at a white person, you don't start thinking like, oh, maybe they're a serial killer. Oh, they're probably a meth addict. Oh, they probably trailer park trash. You don't think none of that stuff when you look at a white person. But when we're looked at, all the stuff that we've done, or all the stuff we've been involved with, that comes out. So when they look at us, oh, he must be a criminal. Oh, you know, he probably not working, got a bunch of kids he ain't taking care of, selling drugs. You know, all of that stuff comes into play. So let me get over here for a minute. Victor, who I haven't seen in 10,000 years since the old days when we were crusading together back in way back in the day. Victor, how are you, brother?
Doing fantastic, Ron. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem. Your timing was perfect.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Likewise, yeah. So you're running for. So what possessed you to jump into the fray, running for council of the city of Paterson, New Jersey?
Well, you know, Ron, it's about the calling. You know, you go through life, you see the people suffering, you see their needs, and you know, I was raised to do something, and I think as a councilman,
Yeah.
it's the right way to go.
Oh, so you're running for at large.
That's
You're
correct.
running-
At
You're
large,
running for
you are in charge
You're running
of
for
all the
at
war.
large. Okay.
Yes.
So what do you think as one person? What a difference do you think you can make with you know in the city of Paterson as one man versus 8 other council people?
You know, Ron, that's true. If we look at it from that perspective, I only have one vote. However, we know we have a whole community behind us. For example, if we're dealing with the garbage issue, I don't need a vote to go clean the streets. I could get 10, 15, 100 volunteers, and let's go do it. So, you know, for that aspect of the social work, we don't need a consensus in the city council.
Okay, we got
For
about
us to
12
go-
minutes left of the program. And let me ask you, Victor. This is Victor Urbaez. He's running for council at large in the city of Paterson, New Jersey. Everybody, in case you don't know who this man
9B,
is.
9B.
9B. Yeah, you're way down. Oh, yeah. Wow, you're way down. They put you at the bottom of the list, huh? 9B.
Well, we need 9 council seats, and I'm number 9.
So Paterson is, has some major issues with you have the tax that you have the shortage every year on the with the budget. Paterson is going to be a distressed city forever, I believe. So They're always going to need money. Money is, they say money is the root of all evil. In Patterson, it definitely is. So, so tell me what you would do. Let's say Victor Urbaez wins one of those seats. What happens from day one with you?
Well, Ron, let's look at the books. Let's ask for forensic accountability. Let's ask where is money being allocated. Let's look into how do we prioritize our funds. And I think we have to have an open book about it. And hold on, there's some noise in the back. And we have to keep the residents informed. We have to be able to say, hey, listen, this is our quarterly budget. This is what's happening. And this is what we're doing with the funds. And I think oftentimes record keeping, it's at an all-time low.
So, yeah, and that's been an issue. I mean, since I first came to Patterson, and when I first came to Patterson, Bill Pasquale was still the mayor of Patterson. That's when I first arrived in Patterson, years and years ago. And it seems like you had Pasquale, and you had Joey, then you had Marty Barnes, and then you had Joey again, Jeff Jones, so on and so forth, and the same problems are still affecting the city of Patterson. So I mean, I know you're only one person, but you know, what ideas do you have about changing that narrative?
You know, Ron, I want to be the cornerstone. The cornerstone where we start building constructively and positively. I think we have to reboost our energy and direct it in the right direction. And that involves our kids, our youth. That involves having a cleaner city. That involves, considering Pattersonians first when it comes to employment, when it comes to housing, when it comes to property selling, the sale of properties in homes. So we have to inject a strong economy back into Patterson. So we have to find ways to get creative with our jobs, with our finances. This summer, for example, our kids are about to be at a school. I grew up where I had a job waiting for me for the summer. I was at work from 9 to 4. By the time I got home, it was 5. You eat, and you had a smoke window to hang out. So we got to bring that back. And I think that's what's missing in Patterson. And it's important for us to get back to the original roots. Families are right now parents are working 2-3 jobs. And the family niche is being affected. So we have to return to those roots. And that happens with having the time for our kids to take them on field trips, to spend time with them in parks, to just have a day-to-day conversation as to how are you and how are things going. And I think that's a good place to start.
Woodland Park, part of what the problem is at Patterson and bringing business to Patterson, because, for example, Elmwood Park used to be East Patterson. Woodland Park used to be West Patterson. I mean, these communities decided that they didn't even want to be associated with Patterson. Okay, which is really unusual. It's embarrassing and kind of insulting in a way. That they would change their name just so they wouldn't be associated, even though they can't change their locations of being right next to Patterson, but they change their name so they don't be associated with Patterson. So how do we get the stink, so to speak, off of Patterson, and what are we doing about and I've said about the shootings. So how do we get the ilk, off of Patterson and get people to look at Patterson in a more positive way, Victor?
Look, Ron, my thing is Pattersonians first for everything. I think that we have to be able to in everything, in every category, put people first. People have to take pride in who they are. We have to take pride in our neighborhoods, and we have to take pride in our city. You remember during the civil rights movement, with the George Floyd movement, there was such high level of pride in people, and that's what has to be injected back into the community. We can bring athletes, we could bring artists, we could have community events that will uplift how we feel about one another in our city. And I think that's a great starting point, because if I have pride in who I am and in my city, I will look after it.
Right, and civic, and you're right about, because when you don't own something, people take pride in what they own. If you own a car, you're going to wash it. If you own a house, you're going to sweep in front of your door no matter what the rest of the street is doing. So I think that's another thing that needs to be approached is, getting people to own rather than rent or whatever. But
Pattersonian first.
Yeah. We got a couple of minutes left, Victor. So just the people of Patterson are listening. So what do you say to them, Nick?
Look,
the
Ron,
election is next week. So go ahead and what do you say to them?
What I'm posting and what I've been talking about, Ron, don't just vote for Victor because I'm an attorney or I'm Dominican or etc. I want you to do your homework as to the candidates. I want you to ask questions about the candidates. Today we have all types of information out there. For example, look me up. Go to my Facebook page, and really look and dig deep into who I am. And that same type of research has to be done for every candidate. Because if we vote as business as usual, things will remain the same. And we don't want that for Patterson anymore. So I ask people that...
No, go ahead.
No, I just ask people to really do their homework and their research.
Well, I know I can attest to your concern for the community because we did work together years ago, trying to make our situation better for Patterson. So I do know this man, and I know he cares about what's going on. Because we have a history of working together. We used to meet in your office. Back in the day.
That's right, Ron.
Your office is not there anymore, right?
Nah, we no longer there, Ron. And we worked for the people.
I remember that.
And that's what it's about, Ron. And we made sure that our people were protected, they were represented, and looked after. And that's what we have to do as Pattersonians going forward. And Ron, the thing of it is this. If we get it wrong, that's going to put it back another 20 years. And that's the type of mindset that we have to have when we elect our leaders.
Right. Well, okay. Well, I do know Victor. We have a history together of working toward the betterment of the city of Patterson. So thank you for your time. I know you're a busy man, being a lawyer and all. So I appreciate you, taking a couple of minutes out of your day to holler at me, and and good luck to next week, next Tuesday, something like that. The election.
The 12th.
The 12th is, I think that's Tuesday. Yeah. So good luck. Good luck.
Thank you, Ron, and it's always a pleasure, man. You don't look a day older than when I saw you last time.
Well, maybe I ought to, whatever is in me, I need to bottle it up and sell it, right?
Yeah. Bring it to Patterson.
Yeah. Patterson needs a makeover. Thank you, brother.
Ron. Nice seeing you.
Thank you for the compliment.
One love.
Thank you. All right, everybody. That was Victor Urbaez, who is he's running for council in the city of Patterson, New Jersey. Okay, so I'm out, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Ron Kelly Show. So, as I like to say, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice, and that we may not have it all together. Black people, and everybody else, but together we'll certainly have it all. Thank you so much. Somebody made a comment. Let me look at this comment before I sign off. Dollar sold. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, all right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you back here next week for another This Is Ron Kelly show. So until then, take care, and we'll see you then.